So like, so yeah, I mean like you know, 20% as like a guest host, I think is like the most I could say is like reasonable. And like, I mean, you know, me honestly, like me and Nick could even split, you know, 50%, 25% each, and then the last, you know, 20 to 30% goes towards investing in ourselves in the podcast.
Yeah.
Right. Like, yeah, I mean, in all honesty, we don't need to think about that right now. Like, we just need to, you know, think about just doing it for fun and keeping it, you know, like how we would talk about sports. Like, we want to just keep it how we would talk about it in real life. Right.
Yes, Vinny, if you go on our podcast and we get 10 million subscribers in one night, you're going to be a regular. Yes.
I mean, sure, but like, I think that's the way to think about it. Like, bro, like, we're not making money off it right now. I don't think we're gonna be making money off it for a while. Just like, hold on, just like, you know, if it goes crazy, then sure, like we'll shout out all your socials and everything. We'll give you some money, you know, but like we're not gonna be making that much money. Like I said, even if we get 1 million views with no endorsements, no sponsors, no running advertisements every 10, 15 minutes, we're not gonna make that much money. So like, if we get 1 million views on like this one particular episode, but if we do, like, that will help us get sponsors and endorsements, but that doesn't mean we're going to make a ton of endorsement money off of that episode. Does that make sense? That can attract money to be, you know, put in our way. That doesn't mean we're going to make a ton of money off of that one video. Right.
You can't bank on one video.
Right. I mean, it's like a bunch of people go viral for like a funny video they make on Instagram, but that doesn't mean that they continue to make funny videos and get like 10 million followers on Instagram. It's like you can have one video that goes viral, and that's popular, and that's your only popular video ever. So like, what we're trying to do, we're not trying to have one viral moment. We're trying to get a pretty consistent fan base that tunes in to watch our show every week. So we don't want to be over ambitious. We don't need to think ahead of ourselves too much and be too focused on the money coming in. We need to be more invested on the quality of the product we're putting out.
I have one last question. Okay, if I come in on the podcast and I'm drinking like Coors Light or some shit like that.
No alcohol.
Not on camera.
Not on screen.
Because yeah, alcohol, like drinking alcohol on camera, especially with brand names on it, that's going to be a problem. So like, if you really need to have a drink, which I don't think you need to have a drink, you can maybe have a beer or something before, if you need to. I don't think you need to, but right. So if you absolutely need to, you put it in like a, yeah, but like you put it in an unmarked cup if you absolutely need to. But I would personally not drink, because I'm trying to be like the analyst. I'm trying to be sharp.
Yeah, you'd be
like,
cool, calm, and collected.
And then
like you can't have you slipping up and saying some retarded shit.
And then yeah, towards the end of the show, we get kind of loose with it. We get some funny topics coming in.
Yeah, if we do a hold on, if we do a knick-knack segment, yeah, if we do like a knick-knack segment, you know, that's when we can fuck around and, you know, hit the cart or, you know, take a drink or something. But that's always at the end.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much how we operate. You know, we're not getting too far ahead of ourselves. We're just treating it as a conversation that we would have just, you know, with the boys sitting on the couch watching the game live. What would you talk about? But you know, the only difference is we're not drinking a bunch of beers.
No.
Not during recording, but like, you know, during the breaks. Sure, if it's not,
I mean, you could
know,
do it in
visible.
between and whatnot, but like, No, we don't
I mean,
want to
if you-
advertise.
You know,
any of
it's
that.
another thing. You know, it's like only an hour and a half long typically. Like I think you'll do fine without doing that for an hour and a half. But like,
And
if it's a
there's
Zen
definitely
and
like
it's-
breaks in between, like where
It's
you
a
can
Zen and
you know,
it's-
do that.
yeah, like when we take a break every like 30 minutes max, we're taking a couple minute break, and then do the big break and take some sips of water and go to the bathroom, whatever you need to do, and then we come back and we pick up where we left off.
Yeah, because like videos that have alcohol, drugs, smoking, or whatnot, they get flagged, and that'll pull down our channel even more. So we don't want that.
Right. I mean, it's even harder to make money when you're doing stuff like that. It's like your video could be made into a 21 plus only video, and it's like we're trying to reach as many people as we can. That I don't think we're really getting any viewers that are below like the age of like 14. I'd be very surprised, but we want to include those guys.
Makes complete sense.
So yeah, I mean we're getting a little too complicated with it. No, it definitely won't. But it's just like you just treat it like I said, like you're at a sports bar or something. There's someone 2 feet away from you. You don't want to say anything too crazy where they're like looking at you weird the rest of the game, right? No. It's like, and 45 minutes.
Usually
an hour and a half.
filming a whole episode is usually like, it takes us about an hour, but like the actual filming is usually like an hour and a half max. Yeah, you're gonna be,
Like,
you're
you
gonna
can
be
do a
talking
shorter
for an
one.
hour and a half, but we're gonna be taking breaks in between, talking about stuff in between. So filming is usually gonna be around like 2 hours, 2 hours, minimum.
Yeah, I mean, I would say,
Yeah.
yeah. So I would say like put aside three hours of time where you're just locked in and ready to be on camera. Also, think about it like this: we don't have like a live audience. There's not a bunch of people. There's just Nick behind the camera. It's not like you have to be, crazy, studious and ready to go with notes and everything. You just have a couple things that you make a mental note of. Like, oh yeah, by the way, I wanted to bring up, Isaiah Hartenstein trade to the Thunder. He's been a double machine for them off the bench. He's been fantastic. That's like a quick point you could just like make a mental note of during the break.
Yeah, I mean that's usually what we do anyways. We'll just do like a little quick run over before we will.
Yeah, and like
Don't worry about it.
during and yeah, it's pretty much talking about ball and then talking with your friends. Like that's all about. And like I have a laptop in front of me because I'm like I consider myself like the analyst, but like I don't really use my laptop very much. Like I have like a couple tabs open, like NBA standings, just so I can get the exact record at the time of recording, right? Like Rockets are 18-9, something like that. But like I don't, yeah, you don't need like, right? Like it's like accurate to the time it's being posted. Like it doesn't have to be, like the first episode, like I made like 12 pages of notes.
Yeah,
I
but
didn't
it's
really
not a
use
book report, okay? It's just like, you're hanging out and there's a camera there, you just pretend the camera's not there, but you're just hanging out with your friends. We're not live streaming, no, we're just recording it. Yes.
We can, but we haven't really done much of that.
We don't really do that because, with a podcast, you usually just post like the raw footage.
Yeah,
Like, unless there's like some
not,
specific things we need to cut out, we're not going to cut it out.
That's
or
fine.
leaving, and then
I mean, that's a real life thing. You
it's
want to
real.
keep it
Like,
as authentic as possible.
like, you don't have to be perfect, Vinny. You're just talking. That's it. It's
And
not
like,
a
think
book
about it
report.
like this. Again, we don't have a ton of followers or anything. It's like you, and if you were perfect, that would be a little weird. Like, it's a casual sports podcast with a little analysis. It's not like, we're not claiming we're the geniuses of sports and everything we say is totally right. It's all about opinion. It's opinion based. It's not, this is the only right answer and you have to listen to me.
This is fucking life.
Yeah, like this is, it's not this is law. It's not law. Like, it's just like, what do we think? So just don't stress out about it too much. I mean, I can give you a rundown, if we're gonna do something tomorrow. I don't know if we have plans yet, but if we do something tomorrow, I can give you a quick rundown of the few things I want to talk about. Like I was saying, with that 15-game checkpoint, we're about at the 30-game checkpoint now. I'm not going to go over every team in the NBA because we did something like that in the first episode, and it took way too long. And I was talking, it was like just me for way too long. So I think we could do a thing called Surprise Surprise, like I mentioned 2 or 3 times earlier. It's surprisingly good, surprisingly bad, and Goldilocks zone, like who's doing just right. And I could do 2 or 3 teams each, and then you can give me your thoughts. I don't know if you're watching as many games as I am. I try to diversify the games I watch. The only teams I haven't watched much of are like Detroit, the Wizards, the Hornets, Pelicans. Those are the only teams I haven't watched a bunch of games on.
Yeah, I've not seen much of the Pelicans because Pelicans is pretty trash. I know like most of the teams are coming good, but like some of the off teams
Like the Raptors. I haven't watched a lot of Raptors games.
maybe the Raptors. I don't know which one the Raptors are.
I mean, honestly, Vinny, if you don't have anything to say about it, you could literally just say, "I don't really know about that." Like, just talk, Vinny. Just talk about what you know, and if you don't know, just be like, you know what? I don't really know about that. I haven't been watching them because they've been doing trash this year. You can literally say that on
Yeah, I mean,
screen.
it can even just be like, you know what? There's
Clarify a few bases and understand some stuff.
right. I mean, it could even just be like, you know what? There's not much to say about that team right now. Well, I mean, the Nelk Boys are a good example. Like, right? Do you? Well, hold on. The thing is this. Like, you're talking about this Nelk Boys podcast. Do you watch them at all? So, right. I mean, so that's the type of podcast. That's the type of podcast where it's totally free flowing. Like, they just turn on the mic. It's like the first thing that they say to the other person almost. It's like, they're like, hey, come inside and everything to the house. This is the podcast studio. This is where you're sitting. You need a water or anything? Okay, great. Let's turn the camera on. Let's start recording. Are you ready to go? They say, yes, I'm ready to go. Then they start. Well, hold on. Just, what I'm saying is, like, they don't have a script. It's just like, hey, let's sit down and talk about whatever we want to talk about. That's the great thing about podcasts. Exactly. So it's just like, hey man, let's sit down and have a conversation. For us, it's not talking about anything. It's like Joe Rogan's podcast. It could cover anything in the entire world. With us, we are only talking about basketball and MMA. If you're going to be a guest host on the show without Juho, it would mostly just be basketball. And I know you're comfortable enough talking about anything essentially in basketball, especially in modern NBA. So I think that's totally fine. We're just going to come in. We're going to not talk too much ahead of time. I'll give you, 10 minutes on the rundown of what I want to talk about. So like, if I'm bringing up this topic, just, don't interrupt me for a couple minutes and just let me put out the stance I have on that. And then I want to get your response to it. but like